Hello, it's June from Paintspotsandpaper and JOTJournalsCreations. I've at last got round to doing part 2 of my haul, so I'll start on it straight away. Well, thank you for joining me for a start and tuning into my channel, and yeah, I hope you're all well. So yeah, let's get started on this because there's quite a few bits to go through. Now, as I say, I had this haul from a boot fair, and this lot is all from one boot fair and just a couple of sellers really. First of all, I went to a lady and she was just selling little bits and pieces, so I picked up this, which is a pack of little doilies, which I thought would come in handy. There's a lot in there. Have a look and see what sort they are. I've got you quite a way away because when I show you the fabric I need quite a bit of space. So yeah, they're just there's loads of them. There's loads of little doilies, which I'll tea dye and spray and that sort of thing. So I got those, and I got this pack of, they're just pieces of craft cards, craft paper, Paper Mania, 280 grams, so they're pretty solid. I thought they'd be brilliant for, there's 20 sheets in here, and I thought they'd be brilliant for journaling cards and tags. So I said, well, yeah, I'll take those. And then last of all of the same lady, I got this. Now it's the stamps that I was after, because some of my frame stamps don't have a solid back on them, and they're such a nuisance when you try and put them on a stamp block to stamp with. They move all over the place because they've got nothing in the centre to hold the outsides in place, so you're trying to get them into a straight, or you know, into a regular frame, and that, yeah, they do take some time. In fact, I've got one that I keep on the frame, on the stamp block all the time, because it takes so long to get it on there. But anyway, so I found these, and I thought, oh, I like those. I have those stamps, please. And this one's got a little lined bit that you put inside. I'll show you if you can see that, yeah. And these just plain little labels, and I thought, well, that'd be ideal because it's lovely making your own labels, and we always need labels, don't we? So yeah, so that's the basic. But then when I got it home, I found inside the die set to go with them, and I didn't know this was in there. I don't think they're all here. I'm not sure how many there's supposed to be 6 dies in there. There's only 3, but it's the biggest one. Gosh, she's been on here a while as well. That one, which is handy for a tag or a label, isn't it? And then this little one, which is brilliant. Oops, bits of paper on it now. Oh. And I mean the others, well, actually, I don't know if they'll, no, that'd be too big for those. But I mean, I may well have some dies around, some of them cut them, but I quite like cutting out labels anyway, and it doesn't take 2 minutes. So yes, I was quite chuffed to see those in there. They were like a little extra. So that was handy. So I got all 3 pieces off one lady, and she said, I said to her, I'm interested in these 3 bits and pieces, and I think she only wanted £1. Yeah, I paid £1 for the lot, and I mean, you'd pay more than that, wouldn't you, in the shops for these? So I thought, yeah, bargain. I'll have those definitely. So that was one lady, and then there's a guy. Let's put those out of the way. There's a guy who does house clearances, and he just puts boxes all out all over the place, and everything's just chucked in them. I think I've told you about him before, and you have to bend down and rummage through all the boxes to find them, because it's literally just, it's house clearance stuff that probably isn't worth anything, so they just sling it all into boxes, and then they say, right, everything in the box is £1. Then a bit later on he says, oh, everything in the box is 50p. And if you're there late enough, he says, right, just take what you want out of what's left. Take what you want, it's for nothing, please just take it away. So you just help yourself to stuff. But I think when I went round there, he'd gone down to 50p for everything. So I went through his boxes and found these books. This is just a little dinky little dictionary. And I think I showed you I have one before. The miniature reference library. So that's quite cute. And I can't resist a cute little book. So I've got that one. And I don't know what I'll do with it, but it's quite nice paper and that. So anyway, there's that. And then I picked this up. And some of these, obviously, this is about television wires and wireless. And I don't know how old it is. It's all probably back in about the... Oh, 1926. But I just thought that was fun, and I can always use the paper for, that's interesting, but I can always use the paper for masterboards and things, because it'll have other paper on top, because this is a bit shiny. But yeah, so anyway, I thought, well, I'll grab that. And then there was this street directory, Canterbury House and Village. Canterbury's not far from me, actually, in Kent. So it must be a street directory of Canterbury. It's really old advert in it. I don't know if this is the guy. Look at this. It's very, very crumbly in places. Price 5 shillings. 46th issue, 1939. Canterbury, the Canterbury District, Herne Bay and Whitstable Local Directory. There's obviously a baker's advert. Auctioneers. I don't know if there's anything in here, or if you can... I think there is another page, but I don't know whether I can open it without tearing it, because it's literally crumbling. But I can glue that down on something, so that'd be quite interesting. And these pieces, I mean, the colour of the paper, look at that, it's gorgeous, isn't it? Some of it is really, really dark. And there's adverts in it and that sort of thing. So, yeah, I thought, well, that would be interesting. Look, there's bits coming off of it everywhere. But I thought, well, I'll just go through, just get some old books, because the pages are nice to use, aren't they? And this one must have been from a house sort of quite locally, April 1943. And that paper's nice, that's usable. I quite like the font. That's, oh, it's C.S. Lewis, the Screw Tape Letters. Never read that. Read a few C.S. Lewis, but I've never read this, so I may well have to read that before I attack it. And there's this one, Romantic Age, a comedy in 3 acts. Once again, lovely paper, lovely and old and yellowed. I don't know if there's a date in this. Let's have a look. It's pretty old. It's probably 30s or something, or 20s, like the other one always a piece of... I love this, when you find bits and pieces in old books. Sometimes you find little lists and little notes and things to people. What's this? Orange and lemon cake. This week's menu, stuffed onions, fresh fruit cake. Well, I don't know, obviously they kept that for some reason. Something, you know, that meant something to them, whoever owned the book. Yeah, there's that one. Then there's this Rhymes of the Countryside, E.W. Turner. Not sure what this is inside. Oh, I didn't see this before. See what I mean? You go through these old books that people are throwing out and you never know what you're going to find. Parsonage Road, January 1949. Haventon. Dear Mrs. Messenger, sending you a little book of rhymes Eustace wrote and had hoped to give personally to his friends. Unfortunately, it being so soon after war, we had difficulty in getting it published. Yeah, and only recently received the book a few weeks ago. I'm sure he would have loved you to have one. Do you think Pat Sherwood would care for a copy? If so, do you mind letting me have his address? Yours sincerely, Joyce Tunisel. Can't read the surname, but isn't that lovely? I didn't know that was in there. As it says, it's a book of countryside rhymes about different birds. Oh, that's it's like the words are sort of embossed in the rhymes. It wasn't that on the paper is very unusual paper. See, it's got like a sort of embossing on it. It's lovely. So that's beautiful, and to find that inside, I mean, that's a beautiful document that I can use. I may well scan that first. And I think it's all like quite local. And there's a sketchbook of Lincoln, and it's all sketches, obviously, of Lincolnshire, which is really lovely. And then there's a sketchbook of Oxford. Also, it's just all pages of sketches, which are really, I mean, I can use those. And doing art myself, I find them really interesting. So anyway, that's lovely. This was kicking around in one of the boxes. This is February the 14th, 1914. Society Small Talk, which is obviously some kind of old magazine. Getting really sort of old and had to look at these. Vino's Cough Cure. Wow. Look at these fashions for growing girls. Oh. It's just viral. My mum used to give me that when I was a child. Tripe and how to cook it. Oh, that's really going back. I mean, I remember years ago seeing tripe in the butcher's shop in one of the towns in Kent, in Rochester. I know it looked revolting. And I said to my mum about it at the time. She said, oh no, it was lovely. We used to have that tripe and onions. I thought, oh, just the look of it put me off. We're spoilt, really. Gardening reminders, things you should be doing now. There's all sorts of things. That's just a really old 1914 magazine. It's absolutely fascinating. I hope you can see that from up there. From up there, as if you're up there. It's just that I don't want to keep adjusting the camera too much, but otherwise I'll lose I need it an area space when I show you the fabrics. And this is the picture story of Lorna Doone, which is a famous book. I'm sure most people have heard or read the book, but this is more abridged, I should imagine, with the pictorial story in it. So that's lovely. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful drawings. To Daphne with love from Anne. All these people from years ago. It's really gives me a strange feeling sometimes. 1933, first published in England in 1933, and well, I think this is a first publication, which isn't bad. And this is another book. How to Build a Cheap Bungalow. No? Paris Shops at Christmastide. Bring that up. So once again, the paper's lovely on this as well. Marquis Oyama and his wife from Japanese armies. Advertisements all through it. Tom Smith's Crackers. 360 Old Kent Road, London. Clark's Ammonia. Right, so those are the books. Now this is from the guy, as I said, who says everything's £1 and everything's 50p. There's bits of old paper everywhere here now. And I got those out of the boxes, and also out of the boxes I got this. I have washed it and ironed it. It was pretty messy when I found it. Let's move these books out of the way. And this is, it's not particularly old, it's just a big cotton tablecloth. It's like there's just bits from that silly book. And it's got this lovely, it's embroidery and an applique on it. And this is a quarter of it, I'd say, because you, on the, oh, excuse that motorbike going by. On the opposite corner to the larger one, you've got this one. And then there's another 2 corners, so there's 2 lots of that and 2 lots of this. But the reason I picked it up was I thought that it would be lovely for cutting out, for slow stitching, especially the colours for an autumnal piece of slow stitching, or to go on an autumnal journal or something like that. But I should definitely use it. And the fabric, there's loads of it, so I'll be able to use that for lining journals or for slow stitching or anything really. So yeah, I was really pleased with that. So anyway, those were all from the, what I call in the 50p man. And so I just collected up the whole lot and said to him, right, I've got all of these, how much do you want? And he didn't bother counting or anything. He just turned around and said, oh, just give me £1 for the lot. So I thought, well, that's really, really good. Honestly, where we go, you can pick up so many bargains. It's just unbelievable. But this was one of my best days there, I think, when I picked up all this lot. You'll see when I show you the rest of it. Right, so we walked around a little bit further, and there was a lady, and she had these lovely tins on her table. Now this is Betty's Tea Room, which is a famous tea room in Harrogate in York. And I don't know, perhaps they're elsewhere as well. Erkley and Northallerton. Tea merchants and lenders it's got all the way around it. But yeah, they're famous, Betty's a famous tea room. And this has got a label on it, and it's nearly 10 years old. It's 2016, December 2016. Well, that's when the biscuits in it were best by anyway. So, yeah, so that's really pretty. And I thought that'd be lovely to put bits and bobs in. It's lovely and clean inside. And the lady said she had it in her kitchen along with another 2 I'm going to show you. And I thought I really like that. And you don't see the Betty's Tea Room ones very often because people tend to hang on to them. because it's such a famous place. Anyway, so I said, oh, I'd like that one. And then she had this little Harrods tin, which is breakfast strong, 50 tea bags. Once again, this is about 10 years old, but I thought it was lovely. And I love anything to do with Harrods in London anyway, because it's where I come from. But yeah, there's that little tin, which I couldn't refuse. And then there was this, which I thought was so pretty. There's no way I could have left this behind. And I mean, isn't that gorgeous? It's so sweet. It's just an old-fashioned, oh, it's just gorgeous. And there's the family at the tea table. And another one there of probably the servants in the kitchen getting things ready for the tea for the people of the house. And yeah, and it's repeated on the other side. And once again, this is about 10 years old. I don't know who did this one. Let's have a look. Oh, it's a Marks and Spencer one. Might have expected that because it's so pretty. As it goes. Sorry, I've got it upside down there, haven't I? There we go. That's really sweet, isn't it? What a lovely little tin. It's obviously a Christmas one. There's a Christmas card on the table. And of course, that's when we have special biscuits. And this one. There we go. Yeah, just needs a quick wipe out, but otherwise, I mean, what a lovely tin to keep ephemera and things in. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to using these. So of this lady, I've got all 3 tins for £1.50. So I thought, they're lovely. Got to have those. So that was those 3 tins from another lady. And then the last one was a lady, and she had all sort of bits and pieces on her table. And she had this plastic tub. And I could see bits of like crocheted lace coming out of them. I thought, oh, wonder what's in there. And it was all jumbled up and screwed up. And really, some of it was pretty sort of, it wasn't stained, it was marked and just dusty, really, where it was so old. And I'll show you. I've now boil washed the whole lot, and I stood and ironed the whole lot the other day because there's so much of it. It took me forever. And now, although some of it is still a little bit yellowy, it has been boil washed, it's clean, it's just old, very, very old. All of this came from the same lady's house, and I think it was an aunt of theirs or a great aunt. And apparently she had loads and loads of figurines. And every single figurine had its own little mat that it sat on. And they'd cleared her house out, and all of this, well, nearly all of it is handmade, hand-stitched. And all this lace around the edges is all hand-crocheted. Somebody has done this, and it belonged to her mother and her grandmother, so it's got to be well over 100 years old, most of it. And some of it is a bit tatty where it's worn, but it is just beautiful, and I couldn't resist it anyway, so I started pulling bits out and that, and I'll show you. What I'll do, I'll show you the bigger bits first, because the smaller bits will be easier to show you. Right, I think if I put it down here and pick it up piece by piece and show you, it might be easier. Now there's hoping you can see this. I won't be able to show the full size of everything, some of it is just too big. If you can imagine it coming from a large old-fashioned house with very long sideboards and large dining table and things. Now this is half the length. This obviously isn't handmade. This is a more recent machine made one. But it's beautiful. This broderie angle, I think it goes that way. No, it goes this way, sorry. And it's all stitched and that. It's really lovely, and it's got that twice, and then again twice, oops, and then again twice. And as I say, it is really long. I don't know how long it is, so I'm just going to try and, I'd say it was a good, it's about 6 foot long. Oops, sorry about that. He's still there, yeah. It's about 6 foot long, and don't know. Yeah, about 1.5 foot wide. Oh, I'll keep hitting the camera, sorry about that. Yes, anyway, that's one piece, and the fabric is beautiful. It's not linen, I don't think. Well, I don't really know. I think it's just quite a strong cotton. It boil washed anyway, so on a 90 degrees, so it's yeah, pretty good. So there's that piece, and then this piece. Now all of this has been hand crocheted in cotton. I don't know what this was because it's only got the one side. I can only assume it went along a sideboard with this at the back, or along, you know, the runners I used to put along the mantelpiece over the fire. But this is all just the same and just plain cotton. But I mean, the fabric, I can use the fabric for slow stitching or for anything really. And this is lovely for journals, these edges. And that's, I don't know. I think that's probably about 8 foot by 1.5 foot, which will definitely be useful. Oh, here comes my dog. She'll start scratching. There's this piece. Now, whoever it was definitely loved this pattern because it's on a lot of things. And you can see it's been done by hand. Well, you can't see from it. This bit hasn't, but you can see that's been caught up by hand and stitched with cotton. So there's that one, and that's this one's a big square tablecloth, which is, I suppose it's probably about 4 foot by 4 foot. That one. And that is really thick. I think that one's linen. Feels like linen. There's this small cloth, or a runner, with like just white embroidery on it. I think that's probably machine embroidered, or that's if they had machines in. Might be quite a recent one, I don't know. This looks quite recent, doesn't it, this kind of stitching around it. But yeah, so there's that one. That one feels like cotton. But I mean, that would make a nice journal cover, or part of a journal cover. Or once again, you could cut it out for slow stitching. There's this one with more crochet around it, which is really pretty. That's like a tray cloth. I'm not sure which way around it goes, and it goes that way around. This has definitely all been stitched. That's been stitched on a machine, but it's handmade, and you can see it's been hand crocheted all around here, and then stitched on a machine, these pieces. That's pretty, isn't it? And this pattern, and really love that. What else have we got? Oh, there's so much of it. I did warn you in the last one, there was rather a lot of this. So I hope you're not getting bored yet. There are some different pieces coming up. This one's just got like a, you probably can't pick it up, there's like a Greek square pattern running through it, and there is a design in the middle, but it's pure white, so you can't pick it up. I'm trying to get the big bits out of the way first. There's this piece, which once again is probably about 4 foot by 4 foot. And that's, I mean, look at all this lace on it, it's lovely. Most of it is white, and I think in those days, years ago, they, like the 1800s and early 1900s, they did have mostly white linen in the houses. So I'll just get these big bits out of the way, then we'll look at the little bits because they're lovely. That's just another square with the pretty crocheted edging on it. It's just a plain square. I hope I'm in camera with these. Sorry if I'm not, I'll try and... this one's quite pretty. It's got like a scalloped crochet edge around it, which is nice. That one's, once again, I think that's probably about 3 foot by 3 foot. I'm trying to go through these ones quickly because they're a bit plain, to say the least. Now I think I've come to the end of all those larger pieces. There are a couple of long pieces here now. This one is a long piece that's embroidered, but it's embroidered in white. As I say, though, obviously they did have a lot of white. I can remember my nan's place and my great nan's and that. You see, this one's so old, it's falling apart basically. And it's another one that just goes up against a shelf or a runner for a cabinet or something, maybe a side table, which they used to have. This one's pretty. That one's a runner, which is rather lovely, isn't it? That's nice. There's all in lovely little flowers on it, and all the way around the edges as well. That's beautiful, and that is linen, quite a thick linen. I mean, that on a journal would look gorgeous, wouldn't it? And it's just the right size, really. So I can't wait to use that. And we're still going. There's this one, which is sort of, it's really, really pretty. Once again, white, but very, very pretty. Bit of embroidery on it. There we go. Hold on a minute, excuse me. Poppy, back it. She started scratching. It's an attention thing, as I've said before. But yeah, there's this one, and it is really pretty. It's like sort of netting, but it's absolutely gorgeous. I don't know what they call this sort of stitching, or it's like sort of bits of ribbons of cotton material, the same material as this, but with like crochet all round it. I don't know what that's called at all. And there's open work there, and obviously the other end's the same, and I suppose that's about 3 foot long. And It feels like cotton to me. The other one was definitely linen. It was a very strong linen. So I've got another runner here, small one, smallish. This is pretty. They're all pretty, I know. This is beautiful, actually. That's lovely, isn't it? Really lovely. I don't, this one's not damaged. It's quite fine, but it's not damaged. Once again, I mean, it screams journals, doesn't it? Especially the ends. That's just so delicate, so lovely. Yeah, I had quite a time around there, I can tell you. And this is just a little square one. That's some embroidery on it, like sort of a broderie anglais and a pretty edging to it. This one's lovely. It's another one of those open work ones. That's really pretty, isn't it? Once again, journal. Isn't that gorgeous? So lovely. And so this lady had, well, she had a really old house. And I think she probably lived her life back in time a bit. And I'm glad she did, because otherwise she wouldn't have had all this in her house. And that's lovely. It's all lace. Beautiful lace around it and open work. I'm hoping you're getting some of this because it is really nice. And to know that it's genuinely old. It's not just vintage. Some of it is, well, a lot of it is antique. Definitely antique. And how are we doing? I've got another long one here. Which once again can be used, however. They're pretty old. This one's falling to bits in places, as you'd expect for something over 100 years old. But there's quite a lot of it, and it's gone a really like ivory colour with age. I mean, all of this at one time would have been pristine white, pure white. And I should imagine it would have been on very dark wood furniture and looked absolutely stunning. Right, I've got a coloured piece here, which is pretty, a lovely embroidered piece. I'm going to find the right way around. That's the right way. This has all been embroidered. Isn't that gorgeous? That is really pretty, isn't it? There we get on. Probably doing it all upside down for you. I'm sorry if I am. There we go. That is really pretty, isn't it? It's got these little bits on the corners. There's that, and it's done down this end as well, the same. And I just thought that was so pretty. Absolutely gorgeous. And there's another piece here that's coloured. And these were actually applique pieces that have been stitched onto it. And you can see the hand stitching. Teeny weeny stitches and little French knots. A few of them obviously have started to fall out over the years. But I think that's the right way around, yeah. But you can see it's all hand done. Oh, that's so delicate and so adorable. Really don't know what I'll do with that one. That's the trouble. You find some of these pieces and you know, you don't really want to cut them up or do anything with them. But right, so just on to the doilies now, and I think these are all white. This one's got a tiny bit of, if I get it the right way up, it's a bit damaged there. Yeah, this one's got a teeny weeny bit of really tiny embroidery on it, just there, and like 4 places around the circle. So that's pretty. That's one of the small ones. Another one here, which is just plain cotton. I think hand stitched around the middle. These ones are really delicate and probably sat really prettily. I did iron them so they just floated and they just go in ripples. But once you lay them down with something on top, it flattens them. But if they're when I ironed it and just laid it down first of all, it went in lovely soft ripples. So you've got like a frill all the way round. Oh, excuse my voice. I can have a sip of my drink. And I'll let you look at that one quickly while I'm having a sip of my drink. That's better. Yes, that one, just a little crochet doily that's pretty old and falling to bits. There's a couple with this pattern, which has definitely been handmade, completely handmade, hand embroidered. I mean, they sat for hours, didn't they, doing this sort of thing in the Victorian times and that. But you can see that it's all been hand stitched. Really sweet. I think most of these little doilies are handmade. That's pretty. That's another one that has like little ripples round it. So they probably ironed them, then put them straight where they went, so they didn't get flattened. There's that one, nice little daisies in the edges, and that's a bit torn. As I say, as you'd expect, this is very, very fine crochet round it. Really fine. I'd hate to think the size of the hook they used. Probably a bit amateur because it's not finished, not joining up very well here, but you know, it's like a vase thing in the middle, but that's just like the material that's been cut out and crocheted around the edges of. This one's quite a sweet little doily. Yeah, sort of more oval. That one's nice. Another one with the pointy edging. It's quite pretty, and that's got, the material is sort of shiny with like little dots on it. I don't suppose you can pick that up with the camera. I don't know, you might be able to. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. That was my little dog barking at nothing. My partner's in the kitchen cutting up things for dinner, and she decided it was a sound she hadn't heard before, so she had to bark. This one's has been embroidered a little bit around the edges, as well as crocheted. There's one here that's completely crocheted in that really fine cotton. There's just stacks of them. This is nice, a little square one. And they'll all be lovely, won't they, to put in journals or on journals, make little pockets with and things like that. Here's a little tiny square one, which is really cute, really dinky. That's lovely. Here's another little one. It's, I don't know, maybe this came from I don't know, a school or a building somewhere. I know they used to keep count of the number of things they had, number of doilies and things, and towels and tea towels and tablecloths and sheets and everything. And this one's got a little number 193 embroidered in red on it. So I think probably it came from a big house. And this is lovely, a little square one, which would make a lovely pocket. Just a little round one there. Could go on the spine of a doily, of a journal. There's one here that's like a sort of broderie on grey type look, isn't it? That's lovely. There's lots of these little ones. That one's really, really delicate. There's another one there. But they're just so tiny and delicate, these ones. It's all handmade. Looks like it's been made out of an old tea towel. If you have a look at the fabric, old cotton tea towel and then embroidered round and used as a doily. Because they used to make use of everything, didn't they? Especially like the servants' of old linen that was being thrown out of a house. That one's nice again. And this one's really, these are really delicate, these little ones. Really sweet. And they would have had an ornament sitting on each one. There's another little one. This one looks handmade. And probably just a lace stitched on around the outside of a piece of material. Another one that's fallen to bits a bit, but doesn't matter, does it? Really doesn't matter. And then these two. And I think that's about it, as if that isn't enough. And as I say, it was all in a box, and I just said to the lady, well, how much do you want each piece? And she said, well, depends what you want. So I started pulling a few bits out, and I said, well, would you take £5 for the whole box? And she said, yeah, okay. So that was it. So I got that whole lot, all that other linen I've just showed you, and all this lot, all for £5, and it's all antique. And it's, well, I think it's gorgeous. So there we have it. That's the end of the second part of my haul. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope I've shown it properly. And I know I'm really chuffed with all of it. The books, the tins, and the linen and that. It's really gorgeous. So anyway, I'll end it there. And thank you so much for joining me. And take care, everybody. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.